girl that sold her virginity, and a very sad story at the end of the video about a guy who regretted nothing more than telling his girlfriend to kill herself. I snooped through a teacher's phone and found her nudes. This happened about 4 years ago when I was a part of the school newspaper my sophomore year of high school. A little backstory: this teacher was the young hot teacher, so I naturally was crushing on her, like most of the other guys in my school. She was super nice, definitely one of favorites, and we grew into a nice teacher-student friendship. We still keep in contact actually. She's helped me with resumes in college quite a bit. On to the story. One day I was assigned to do an article about our school's culinary program. They had made a big garden so they could have fresh veggies and herbs. I had finished writing the article and was told to go take pictures, but I had no way to take these pictures. The newspaper didn't have any cameras, so students would just use their phones, but I didn't have a smartphone at the time. My teacher gave me her phone and told me to take the pictures with that. I took her phone and was making my way down the hall to the culinary garden when I had this thought. My teacher crush just gave me her phone, I'm alone, and there could be nudes on this thing. I've used an iPad before, so I knew my way around an iPhone. Now what else would a horny teenager do? I started going through the photos. There were tons of pictures of her and her husband, friends, pets, etc. I started thinking, she's not dumb enough to give her students something with her nudes on it, but I kept scrolling. Then it appeared, a full frontal mirror nude. Holy hell, I thought I found the holy grail. My heart started beating so fast in that quiet-ass hallway, I swear you could have heard it. I clicked on it and instantly got rock hard. I proceeded to walk to the garden though, so I kept it together and got those pictures. The whole time I was taking them I still had a boner. Now I'm walking back to my teacher, heart still beating hella hard, horny as hell. This is going to be the only time I see my teacher naked, so better get the most out of it, I thought. I go into the bathroom, lock the stall, and rub one out over my teacher's phone. It didn't take long at all and I busted the biggest nut. I clean myself up, close the Photos app, click the camera app so it looks like I didn't do anything but take pictures, then make my way to the class. I walk in and hand her the phone. She smiles and says, "Get those pictures all right?" I reply, "Yep." I go sit down while she transfers the pictures to her computer and emails them to me. I finish my article and email it to our class editor, and that was the end of it. She never found out and she never asked about it to this day. I've never told anyone this story before today and it'll remain a secret. I sure as hell don't want her to know I did this. Ejaculated on my grandmother's face. One night when I was 14 years old, my grandmother had come to visit us. She slept in my bed and I slept on the couch. At this point in my life, pretty much every night I would wait for everyone to go to sleep and then I would jack off. Even though I was on the couch, I still decided to do it. For some reason, in my horned up state, I got really turned on by the idea of ejaculating on my grandmother's face. So, without really thinking, I went into my room and while she was still asleep I quietly jacked off next to her and then finished on her cheek/neck area. After I finished I left as quickly and quietly as I could and went back to the luge room. I have no idea if she knows what I did. This happened a decade ago and I still hate myself every time I think about it. I don't know what I was thinking. I am an A-list celebrity who hates it. The only reason I haven't killed myself is my kids. I wish I never had kids. I love them, they are the best things that ever happened to me, but I wish I never had them. They'll have to grow up in the life that I fear, they'll never lead normal lives. You know how there are celebrities everyone loves? Well, I am a celebrity people generally hate. I've never done anything bad or illegal, I work hard for my kids and lead a clean life. My husband is also an A-lister and we never get to see one another. Everything I say is quoted in the media. I can't eat in public without a million paparazzi in my face. I can't sleep at night. I have an anonymous Facebook account and I follow posts on entertainment websites about myself, reading the hate comments and going into a depression. I don't know why I do it, I wish I didn't, it just feels like the world is against me. I've been called fat, I've been called dumb, I've seen comments with people saying they wish I killed myself. I have never done anything to harm anyone. I just want to die. I fantasize about killing myself every day, and would have if it weren't for my kids. Everyone thinks I am bubbly and free, I just wish I could stay in a dark room all day and sleep. I feel constantly strained and close to tears. My family and friends are all either famous or living in inaccessible locations. Everywhere I go I am followed by people screaming at me. Paparazzi are scum suckers, they are the worst people in the world. It might seem like I am being harsh, but when you are tired or scared and you have 1,000 cameras in your face and people demanding that you look at them and answer their questions, It hurts. I went through a really hard time a while back and was scared for my life. People said I was attention-seeking. Other celebrities I have met are the same. Nobody in this industry is truly happy. I just want to die. I am going to break down any day now. I follow stories. People laughed at Britney Spears, but that stuff happens for real in real life. Robin Williams killed himself. He must have been tortured. It's a bad life, guys. I won the lottery 5 years ago and haven't told anyone. I just got engaged. So after taxes my winnings came to just shy of 4 million. I paid off all my debts, hired an accountant, fixed some things on my truck, and put most of it in savings. I kept my job, didn't move, and kept my mouth shut. My brother is a meth head, my sister is a spiteful whore, and my mom still blames everything on my dad who died 10 years ago, so I didn't want them scrambling to pretend to care about me for cash. I've been dating a girl for about 3 years now and recently asked her to marry me. She said yes. I bought a modest ring, just over what people would expect given my known employment. This weekend I'm going to lay everything out for her and I can truly know she's in it for me and not the money. It's going to liberating to be able to buy what I want and take care of my friends, totally worth the wait. I auctioned off my virginity. I was 18 and really tired of being a virgin. I was super embarrassed. I didn't really have any close guy friends and had no idea how to flirt or even communicate with a guy. I was in a really depressive state. I felt like I missed out on the fundamentals of high school love, especially since I'd been looking forward to it. I also however needed some money for school, and really was just craving any sense of excitement in my life. I went to this randomized website that's similar to Craigslist and made a post about my virginity with pictures, and instructions on how my fantasy went. And then set the bids at $1,500 and the bids reached $10,200, it was so weird the amount of guys who just have money like that. Anyways, the guy who had the highest bid was 50 and owned some sort of business in the trades, not sure what. He wasn't ugly, he was actually decently attractive, but then again I was into older guys, so I'm biased. We set up a date and he took me to a nice hotel, bought me a dress, we went to dinner, and when we came back there was flowers, chocolates, and a present for me in the room. And rose petals on the bed and candles lit, all like I imagined since the 8th grade. We had sex, it was okay, I mean I had nothing to compare it to at the time, it felt amazing. But the best part was after, since he made me feel comfortable, and we just talked all night and cuddled and made out. I left the next morning and that was that. I finally could move on with my life and not focus on my virginity. 4 years later and I'm actually a sex addict, so it's weird how I was such a late bloomer, yet so into sex. I am a sex worker and I have a lot to confess. I am an escort who lives in a legal location for prostitution. I have been thinking about how people view my profession and how it makes me feel, among other things. I was reading a comment on a post the other day and I felt awful about it. The comment was along the lines of how most girls wouldn't date a guy who has been with an escort. It made me feel that people view escorts as non-humans or objects. Which honestly I'm used to. I've actually wanted to post to roast me stating I am an escort just to see if I am truly desensitized to all of the derogatory names. The profession I am in is so much more than what it appears to be. I've substantially helped many clients with anxiety, loneliness, depression, emptiness, etc. It's been statistically proven that areas with access to sex workers have lower rates of suicide/homicide. At times I feel like I am a sexual therapist. I listen to these men, actually listen. It feels like a slap in the face when most people talk about hookers as objects, gross, or addicts who have daddy issues, etc. The one thing I will admit that is stereotypical is I'm a self-identified sex addict. Yes, some clients are only seeking something they can fulfill outside of their relationships, but even then, I can't tell you how many times I have sat down with a client and gave them advice on how to better connect and restore their relationship. I've also been feeling lately that I view men and relationships so much differently now. I used to be a jealous and controlling person in relationships. I am introverted by nature, so when I would find someone I connected with, I would put all of my energy into them and get possessive out of fear that my relationship could be jeopardized by another person. I eventually decided being alone and fixing myself was for the best. And now, being a single provider, I look at the whole idea of relationships differently. I just see people as time bombs, waiting to get bored, stagnant, resentful of one another, growing apart. It looks like a heartache. I also have become jaded and find men untrustworthy. Yes, I know, it's messed up to generalize a whole gender. I've met so many men who sneak around instead of being honest with their partner. And even though this is my profession, I still root for them to no longer need me and fix their relationship. I fear because of being a sex worker I have been tainted to the idea of love and honesty. And there's times when I have no one to talk to about how I feel. How encounters with certain clients leave me emotionally bankrupt because their energy was so dark. Which I guess led me to posting a confession. I don't know, I'm kind of rambling now. But there's still so much more I could vent about. I've realized in this profession there's never one way to look at everything, and I'm always contradicting myself with how I feel. All in all, though, I do enjoy my work. I like making people happy and helping their mental health, even if it's frowned upon. Sorry if this is jumbled and hard to understand, I wrote it quickly just to vent. I told my girlfriend to kill herself and she did. We had been dating for 3 years and she was my best friend. My first impression was that she was this cute girl who was really fearless and her life was perfect and nothing bothered her. Turns out she was and still is the most unstable person I've ever met in my life. There was a point where she was constantly calling me crying about something that had upset her. Like she found one roach in her new apartment, or because exams were killing her and she's stupid, or because her friends canceled on her, or her father isn't listening to her again. Each and every time she called, I would drop everything I was doing and go help her. It got to a point where I was often sacrificing important matters. One time I even left a job interview for a really good company because she was having a body dysmorphia breakdown. Her mental breakdowns eventually overshadowed all the good times, and I found myself centering all my decisions and time on her. Friends and family started saying this was toxic and she was dragging me down, so I finally broke up with her in person and comforted her for an entire 5 hours after. Just sitting there holding her while she cried. She had begged me to stay and promised she'd get better and that she needed me. That's what kills me every time. After a few weeks of not talking, I tried contacting her just in case she needed help, but she stopped answering my calls. She called me while I was in a class seminar and I got so mad for some reason because everyone could hear my phone ringing and my professor was giving me the murder eye. I got madder than usual, almost freaking lost it, and ended up telling her to F off. That's seriously what I said. And then she started crying and told me she was going to kill herself because she's hurting, and me thinking about all the "she's manipulative and toxic" drift my family and friends were on. I just told her, "Well, do it then," and hung up and went back to class. I don't know why I said those things. I was just really angry and annoyed, but after a few hours, I was okay and tried calling her back to apologize, but she didn't answer. Then I found out from a friend that she killed herself the next day. I think about it every single day and it's literally eating me up inside. I quit college, I'm addicted to stuff that I probably shouldn't even say on here, and no one wants to be around me anymore. I feel like a murderer sometimes. All I needed to do was being there for her, and maybe she wouldn't have done it. Or at least not be an ass and tell her to do it. The funny thing is, everyone thinks I did her some good and that it's so beautiful that the love of her life was the last one to talk to her. I keep thinking that maybe if I hadn't been the last one, maybe she'd still be alive. I'm crying now.